If you're an online coach, consultant, or therapist, then you've probably wondered what other online coaches, consultants, and therapists do to get more clients, gain more exposure, and in general, help more people. So this is exactly why I decided to start this series where I analyze the funnels of people who have made it happen, people who have gained exposure of millions of followers and who have sold hundreds of thousands of dollars online. In this particular video, this is the first one by the way, I will be analyzing Matthias James Barker's funnel, who single-handedly became a therapist to over 4 million people online. I will be going over his exact system, his strategies, and things that are more apparent, more seeable for the normal person, looking at his funnel and looking at his content, and some of the things that are left behind the scenes that maybe an untrained eye would not really recognize if they took a look at his system. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright, so as you can see, we have quite a bit to cover in this video, so I promise I'll try to yap as little as possible. So again, the video is about the man who became a therapist to over 4 million people, Matthias James Barker. Now, before I even get into any of this analysis and stuff, why even should you watch this video? Why not just click off right now? It's because me and my company, High Day Media, we have worked with several people, coaches and therapists in similar niches, like for example, Naj over here, he is a psychotherapist focused on healing attachment styles. And then we have Brian again, who is focused on healing trauma, specifically helping people heal from narcissistic abuse and the trauma that comes from that. So if you think that now it's worth your time to watch the rest of your video, then please do. If you don't, then feel free to click off. I have already cried today twice, so I have no more tears in me left, and also my eyes are dried out. But let's just get right into it. So at the heart of his content system is his link tree. Now, typically we don't recommend this to use link trees for coaches, consultants, and therapists who are trying to do content online. But between launches, when you have a lot of products like Matthias does, it is a valid option. So first of all, we see that he has his children's book at the top, which is this super awesome, big, beautiful welcome surprise. I'll be talking about that one in a second. Then we have the Healing Mind workshop, which is obviously a workshop, his newest workshop. He has a lot of them. Also, I will be breaking down the exact system behind those. And then coming to the interview with Matthew Hussey, that pronunciation, Hussey. I hope I hope it's correct. But essentially, that is linking to his YouTube. From there, we see the Trauma Institute, which I will be talking about a little bit further. Obviously, that's more of like just join and help the Trauma Institute. It's not really an application for people who want to get help, get support in their healing. And then what comes in trauma and the Matthias James Barker podcast are both podcasts found on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Now, I have to point out that with these amount of links and with this amount of complexity, obviously a lot of people might get lost in you know, going through the link tree and maybe not knowing exactly what to click next, not knowing exactly what's relevant for them, because you have to see that most people probably won't really explore all the possibilities. And if these titles are not clear enough, which could be the case that someone, for example, does not know that this is a children's book, because why would they know if they have not seen the promotion yet? So then it can be a little bit confusing, and it can lose him a couple of conversion points. And also a very interesting thing that I have to note is that his YouTube has been inactive for over 7 months. And it's only extended and only run by unformatted shorts only. So that means short YouTube videos. So these YouTube shorts, but they are not really formatted for YouTube. They are just the Instagram videos shortened. So just cut off where, you know, for example, a comment, a call to action takes place or stuff like that. But let's not dive too much into depth on those, because I'm sure that he has his good reasons. Let's focus on the things that are juicy, that we can learn from, and that are very interesting to explore. So the Trauma Institute we have already went over, so let's not get stuck on that. Let's start with the Healed Mind workshop. So the Healed Mind workshop, as soon as you click on that link, you will see that you are directed to a landing page, and on that landing page you see a headline, which is an untypical headline. So this headline specifically doesn't really include much information. If it didn't have the VSL there, I think that's the most important thing to take away away from all of this landing page, then it would be rather confusing for an outsider to specifically determine what exactly this is about. So let's focus on the VSL and what we can learn from it. First of all, if you watch this video VSL, you can see that he's calling out the pain. So he starts with addressing the pain of trauma, of being stuck, of not knowing what next steps to take, of being stuck with emotions that are constantly bothering you, being stuck with thoughts that you can't get out of your head. So after he has established his, ideal client profile, who he's talking to, he's pointing out his authority accolades, so that he's a therapist and that he's the CEO of the Trauma Institute. This is sort of like the introduction, if you will. Then he's going into a story where he's also calling out his ICP. He's relating to his ICP. So he's taking everyone on the story. So if you're like me, then you know XYZ. If you're like me, then you have felt XYZ before. And after that, he is getting into the transformation. So after he has established that he is like the viewer and he has experienced this, then he is in a position, he's an authority on speaking on the transformation. Because before that, others might question him, his worth, whether or not he actually understands what they're going through. But as soon as he has established that he's an expert and he has been through it, then he can go to the by the way, nice. He can go to the transformation, which is that made a monumental difference. Then again, social proof. He's a therapist. It helped so many other people. So this method that he used. Then he's going into detail how the process works. This process is, to my impression, a little bit underrepresented in the headline and in the subtitle. So if Matthias would want to increase the conversion rates, make it more clear what this is essentially about, I would include the main parts of the process and the transformation in the headline. That means that he could be talking about where people start, where people go. So that would be a go from X, your current position, to Y, your desired state, with XYZ, and then the with XYZ would be the process that he is describing here. And then again, he's linking back to social proof with testimonials, with the added testimonial of world-renowned experts. Now, when finishing up this VSL, he doesn't really give a clear call to action, which is okay if it works for him, but just telling the audience to, by the way, click this link below if this sounded interesting, what I was just talking about for the last 3 minutes. That can just increase engagement and give people a clearer path forward so they know exactly what to do. So as you can see, by the way, this workshop is around $500, which is not really a high ticket offer. So if someone, just wants to buy it on a whim, it's still possible. It's more of like an entry-level offer. So I'm sure that he has higher ticket offers or options for people. So going on to his email sequence, you can also notice that his email sequence is, by the way, linked in his link tree. So just going further to there, you will see that whenever you enter your email, you don't actually get confirmation that you have been subscribed to the newsletter, which would be a nice touch. So if I was in his team, my idea would be just to create a simple welcome sequence which could be continually updated. So for example, it could start with Healing Trauma 101. That would be a little bit of an introduction, then going over to YouTube videos, link to specific products, or link to the current workshop, or give valuable information about the topic of the current workshop, so that people that have this problem, so for example they are anxious and you are currently promoting an anxiety workshop, then they have the opportunity to become educated and then get to a point where they can buy the workshop and then get the most value possible. But after a couple days waiting, I actually got the first email, which was this one. So the subject line said that dealing with estrangement, here's what you can do. So it's essentially a quick promotion of the webinar that is coming up, his live event, which says, so if you're struggling to connect with your family and you're not alone, maybe you've been trying your best to connect, but you feel unappreciated, unjustly blamed, and ignored. So these two over here, these are pain callouts. So he's focusing on calling out the pain of the prospect so they know exactly who this is for. This is also sort of like an ideal client profile definition, so people know who is being talked about in this specific message. It's easy to feel frustrated and feel shut down. So this is the validation part. It doesn't have to stay this way. The good thing is there's some very effective ways to have real conversations without making things worse. Join me to learn more about those on December 16th. And this one will be the transformations. You can follow this email template for your webinars as well if you want to. So essentially you start with the pain, with the ICP. So you're calling out who your ideal client profile, who this is for. So people who feel like XYZ, people who are in XYZ situation, have XYZ problems. Then you validate that feeling. So it's easy to feel frustrated and feel shut down. It's common to do that. It's not a problem. And then you bring light to a transformation very quickly, very neatly. It's a very swift email. And then obviously like a little bit of sort of like ending statements. Situations like these are hard enough. Let's explore some reliable ways to make them more approachable. Then we get to the opt-in page, which has multiple very interesting elements. First of all, it's the urgency over here, so that you can only register for 6 more days because it's on the 16th of December. And second of all, there is also an element of scarcity by this little thing always popping up on the bottom left to let people know that John from East Falmouth has reserved a seat for this live event. This is always a separate person because it's like a software that does this. So it increases not only scarcity here, but also urgency over there. And to make everything clear, there's also a mini VSL. It's just a short video that he has posted also on his Instagram. Now, I have to point out that in the short video, it's still September the 11th, so it's not December the 16th where the event takes place. So that could be something to adjust. But essentially he has 2 options for this. And then let's just take a look at his sales copy over here. So join us for this live event. It starts out with the CTA. It starts out with a value stack, so people can discover what this is about and what they can expect, which is a great way to do this. Let's just read them. So hidden and overlook are the most attention grabbing words in here. Then productive conversation without making things worse. That's the attention grabbing thing over there. Then here the number and family breakdowns. There we go. Understand the cycle of estrangement and ongoing conflict. And then encounter resistance in your efforts are rejected. There we go. So that's speaking to the pain, that's speaking to the experience. It's not speaking to some sort of mechanism, some sort of random tool that people don't know what it's about. It's speaking to the exact experience of the person. Going over to the second part, it's again calling out the pain, calling out the situation. And if you go a step further and you actually opt in, then you have this congratulations page where you are sold on a $47 bundle of this That's a Good Question bundle and the parental estrangement sort of like course or workshop. And from there you will be led to the actual webinar, which I am sure includes some sort of higher ticket offer. So I would be curious to see, because at the time of recording this, it's not yet the 16th of December. So I would be curious to see what exactly that higher ticket offer is. Maybe it's a $500 workshop like we have seen with the Healed Mind workshop over here. Maybe it's even a one-on-one access therapy session or therapy program with Matthias, which I would highly doubt because he has just so many followers. But then again, there could be an opportunity for him to do a workshop with a course and do group sessions, sort of, so people can enjoy his company, enjoy his expertise without, having to pay thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to get one-on-one access. So I would be very curious as to what exactly that higher ticket offer is. But wrapping this one up very quickly, let's take a look at his children's book. So this is a book for children. This is the super awesome, big, beautiful welcome surprise. And the genius way that he's marketing this book, you will not believe me, because he's not only marketing this to kids. So why this is good for kids? Your kids will relate to that, which is an amazing statement for a parent reading that. But it's also marketing towards the parents. So what will be the benefit for the parent buying this book? because at the end of the day, the parent makes the decision. This book, you know, a 3-year-old child probably will not know who Matthias James Barker is. So here he also includes in his promotional little reel video the lines, how do parents come alongside their kids when they are having these big emotions, these big transformations. And this is the second point, that you should not only sell to why it's good for the child, essentially in this case, but also sell why it's good for the parent. So he is very conscious of who will be buying the book, even if that is not really apparent to most people looking at this messaging. So obviously Trauma Institute we have already talked about. People can apply, that's his own separate thing. I'll not be going into detail on that one. What are some of the other behind the scenes in his content, short form content and even long form content, that he is not really, you know, talking about, but he's doing so professionally, so well, in such a genius way? His short form content is essentially divided into two main parts. First is the value content and then the ask content. The value content is only focused on giving people value, you know, new insights, new tools, new stuff. And the ask content is focused on getting him new leads, people to buy his low ticket products, and then potentially buy his higher ticket workshops, essentially. So let's start with the value content. Matthias's content is primarily focused on the know, like, and trust factor. So for any one person to buy from you, you have to get them to know you, then like you, and then trust you. You cannot forego any of those, because if they don't know you, then they can't like you and trust you. If they don't like you, then they will never trust you. And evidently, if they don't never trust you, then they will never buy from you. So this is what he is essentially reaching, and what his strategy is behind his content. And I've noticed, by the way, that he seems to talk a lot about things that come up in his practice or life. Why do I think this? It's because his content is rather random. So first of all, I just cherry picked a couple of videos, but you can see on his Instagram that this is truly the case. First of all, he's talking about what everyone hates an apology that sounds like this. Then he's talking about the worst parent combos that you can get. Then he's talking about the 5 signs you might be codependent. Then about neurodivergence. Then about depressed friends. He is keeping the theme of relationships and trauma, but he is not really focusing in on any one topic, which is amazing from a reach standpoint, because people will not only know, like, and trust you, but a lot of people will see your content because you're speaking to a wide audience. So for example, if it would just be talking about neurodivergent people, then it would only be watched by people who are either neurodivergent, have some tendencies, or people who know neurodivergence. However, by keeping this variety, he can speak to a wider variety of audience. However, I have to point out that obviously this is not incredible for the promotion of a workshop. Essentially, if a specific workshop is coming up in the next month, as many videos are not really in line with this workshop. So although he's getting a lot of people to watch his videos, not all of them will be qualified for his new workshop. Which is a long-term strategy. It is amazing, but for short-term promotion, there has to be an addition, which in my idea could be a 50-50% split of his current posts. So about random topics, about things that come up, things that are interesting, things that are viral as of right now. And 50% of the posts should be about a specific workshop or the topic of a specific workshop that he's currently promoting. So for example, if he has a workshop about anxiety, then 50% of the posts could be about anxiety, with around half of the 50% would include call to actions. So it wouldn't like overload his audience with call to actions and things that they have to buy and pressuring them or whatever, but it would include the element that, hey, if you are struggling with anxiety, then I'm letting you know that I have this thing, and this is like launching right now. So this would be a subtle way to improve his current content system. Then let's go to Instagram podcasts. my favorite. So with Instagram podcasts, you're not only doubling your reach because you are promoting the podcast, the interview to both of the people's audiences, but you also allow for content repurposing. So you can post this podcast as a reel, or you can post it in your stories, you can post extracts as new reels and stuff like that. Then obviously it also increases trust because they see that trustworthy figures like Dr. Andrew Huberman trust Matthias and like David Kessler. And fourthly, there is the aspect of third-party promotion, which allows you to not push your own product, but for it to be pushed naturally by other people. So let's break this down very quickly. Here you can see him in a podcast, in an Instagram podcast, what I like to call it, in an interview with Dr. Andrew Huberman, who obviously has not only a very loyal and a very big following, but also has authority in the space of, you know, science and health. So him doing an Instagram podcast where they are talking about parental estrangement, and therefore him having the ability to sort of like promote his own upcoming workshops is ingenious. And then the second thing is that he's also helping other people achieve their goals. So he is being selfless, and also he has a strong brand because he can strongly show his own personality in these podcasts. So for example, here you can see that in his podcast with David Kessler, he's actually promoting David Kessler's new book. So it's not his new book, it's David Kessler's new book, which is Finding Meaning, which will then allow him to do things like that. Because if he would just, you know, hop on Instagram podcasts randomly wanting to promote his own services, people would get tired of him. But him being a reciprocal human being, he can allow himself to do these kinds of things. So what does actually make Matthias James Barker stand out in his content? First of all, you have to know that he's singing his messages. Every time he is getting in front of the camera, he is brutally expressive, he's brutally relatable. It's almost like he's performing, he's an actor, a singer, because you can relate to his words so much, even though his words are not that special. It's his tonality, it's his gestures. So the second thing is that he speaks the unspoken truths, which, you know, in his particular field of trauma and relationships, can hit home for people. And then the third one is he is himself, which gives him a bulletproof brand, because he never has to, you know, figure out what his brand would say in a certain situation. He can just be himself, and that's his brand. So let's just continue with the ask content that he's doing. So here we have a video with the comment question call to action. Then people are led to his DMs. Then they click a link where they open a website. Then they get to the landing page of this card deck. And again, I have to point out, he's using the same techniques over and over again. Here you have the urgency factor. Here you have the scarcity factor. And he has a small little VSL, which is just posting his reel. So if you're doing as high quality reels as possible, then you can see the strategy that he's actually repurposing, because he knows that if he posts a good reel, then it will get a lot of views. So he's essentially combining the structure of a video sales letter, which is why he's using this over here, with the format of a viral reel, and the reel that he knows that he can do so well. So if you have an online coaching, consulting or therapy business, you can take inspiration from this and essentially combine these two. So you don't have to, you know, sell in one video and then give value in the other, because he's giving value in this video, and it's so valuable that over 13,000 people like this video. And then he's also putting it as a VSL. So essentially every time you do a VSL, this is something that you have to pay attention to. Then as the next step, you can see it's just a $35 little product. It's nothing crazy. It's there to collect customer information, to collect new customers, new leads, so that whenever he is dropping new products, new workshops, new courses, then he can upsell those people and gain their trust, you know, by delivering a high quality, low ticket product up front. So let's get on to the second part, which is the collaboration on a product, which he has done, by the way, with Jimmy on relationships. So in this collaboration, it's essentially Matthias's and Jimmy's collaboration on a product where Jimmy is hosting a live stream with Matthias, and he's prompting people to comment at the word send. And the ingenious thing about this is that people are then sent to Jimmy's Instagram, so they're not sent to Matthias's Instagram, they're sent to Jimmy's Instagram, and whenever they register, then they get sent to Matthias's landing page, because he has already all the systems built out, and I'm guessing that Jimmy just doesn't have that. So it's ingenious to think this, because obviously Matthias does not really have to promote his own stuff. He just does a collaboration with Jimmy. He not only gets double the views on this live stream, which also has 6,000 likes and approximately the same number of comments, and people essentially like almost begging for this workshop, and then people are led here, obviously, and then you have the $400 workshop that people can split up into payments. Again, the urgency factor we have, again, it's coming up over and over again. So these are the main things that you have to take away. There is a very, very clear structure being outlined in Matthias's strategy. Essentially, he is constructing VSLs in this format, but he also transforms these VSLs into reels by giving people ideas, by making it valuable, by making it entertaining. So not just, making it a random video where he's selling stuff, but things that people enjoy. And another thing that you can take away from him is that he's selling low-ticket products, because with a low-ticket product you can gain the trust of a person before pushing them to a higher ticket offer. So this is something that is extremely valuable from his system. Now let's get on to YouTube, because obviously he has not really been active in the last 7 months, so that's whatever. However, I have a couple of recommendations for Matthias, if you're watching this, Matthias, or someone from the team. A couple of things that you could be doing to optimize your YouTube besides posting YouTube videos. So first of all, I would be starting with the growth content, then with interviews, and then with older course content or similar videos. So he's already doing the growth content and the interviews, and quite possibly the older course content as well. But this would be the top of funnel, this would be the middle of funnel, and this will be the bottom of funnel. The purpose of growth content is virality. So to get it to as many people, as many faces as possible. The purpose of interviews is to further nurture, this is the middle of funnel, to further nurture these people and make them believe in your expertise and get them to, discover their problems, discover their similarities with other people facing the same problems. These interviews can be such like, with experts over here, or even with people who have struggled with a very specific topic, may also be experts on this topic, but who have overcome that, so who have had a transformation. That would be the middle of funnel. And then the bottom of funnel could then be older course content to give people as much value as possible, help them take the first steps on their healing journey, and so on. How exactly could YouTube benefit Matthias's content system? First of all, people could get to know him more, like him more, and trust him more. Second of all, he would get more exposure, evidently. I mean, with these views, it's a shame that he's not posting any more YouTube videos. And, this was just a random interview. I'm guessing this did not take that many preparation steps. So, that could be an opportunity. And then number 3 is a stronger community, because YouTube allows for people to know, like, and trust you more, and then also in the comment section engage in a prolonged conversation in opposition to, for example, Instagram, where people just leave a comment and then dip. And then the fourth one would just, it would be a small one, essentially, but it's ad revenue, because at this point, when you're already racking in 40K, 90K views per video, it can be a considerable amount of money coming in, which then would allow him to fund his other workshops, to fund his other systems, to fund his trauma institute. There are a lot of ways that you can make use of that capital. So let's get on to his actual website, where he's hosting his workshops, and he has a lot of workshops. And even though he has a lot of workshops, he only promotes one at a time. That's a big learning factor. If you have a lot of courses, only promote one, because people will be completely confused. So, but I have to point out that obviously people are anxious even if Matthias is not promoting his anxiety workshop. So what is the solution to that? My idea is that he could launch a school community with a credit system, which would then mean that people join his school community, where they are in a community of people looking to develop themselves and improve themselves. And every single person could get the opportunity to pick the course that they would like most help with. So that means if someone is more on the anxious side and needs help with that, then they would opt to use their credit on the anxiety course, anxiety workshop. But for people who have more problems with parental estrangement, for example, they would pick the parental estrangement workshop. So it could be organized in a very neat way that way. And obviously, so for example, here you have the price point of $400. Now I would reduce that price point a little bit, but if you are selling those courses individually inside of the school community, then it's also a viable solution. That, for example, the school community itself is free to join, so people can just join the school community and then buy the courses separately. That's also a very valid option. There are multiple options, but essentially the three main things to keep in mind is that it should not confuse people with too many options at once, that everyone has access to everything. Second, it should ensure that everyone is in the same place and sharing their progress, so that their progress is more efficient. There's accountability aspects, and there's a community aspect behind it. And then the third one is that people can get help with what they need help with efficiently, and specifically what they need help with, not only what Matthias is promoting at a certain time. So for example, if his main promotion would focus on the school community itself, and then he mentions, when he's doing videos about, for example, anxiety, helping people get over anxiety, or how to manage your own anxiety, then he could include at the end that, hey, I have an anxiety workshop in my school community. If you want to join the school community, check it out for free. It's free. And there I just go over exactly what you would get by buying this workshop or whatever. So this could be a great way to incorporate all of his workshops in one integrated platform, so that everyone gets help with what they need help with, instead of just getting help with what Matthias promotes. Alright, so we've come to our last topic, which is the estrangement.com website. So this estrangement.com website, by the way, it's also here. So this email sequence, this parent estrangement workshop, this webinar is in connection with this. But essentially this waitlist creation that I've noticed a couple of days ago when I went to the website is ingenious. Why is a waitlist good, by the way? So let's imagine that this is the waitlist. So this is the barrier, and here you collect all the emails. Here you collect all the emails, all the people. So what happens is essentially people get to this page, and then the unqualified ones go away, so they just never enter their information. But the qualified ones just stay. But the qualified ones stay there, and they actually start to amass a real community of people who are just waiting for Matthias to open up the waitlist and to finally let them in on the other side. So as soon as Matthias decides to open this up, then they can storm to whatever he is selling. So this is like the product, it's a very bad drawing, but excuse my drawing, I'm not that great. And then people get in immediately, all of these people at once, and that's from an efficiency standpoint, that's amazing, because he doesn't have to handle them until the wait list is closed. And then they get in, then he's serving them, then he can 100% focus on these types of people, while new people also pile up before the waitlist itself. So this is why creating a scarcity with a waitlist is amazing, because the unqualified people just fall off, and then the really qualified people will stay here. Now, a waitlist is great for almost anyone in this space, quite frankly, and especially in Matthias's case, with so many followers and with so little time probably on his side to fulfill on them, and probably a way too small team because you just can't fulfill for 1 million people at the same time. Alright, so this was the full analysis of Matthias James Barker's funnel, content system, content strategy, and everything behind it, all the behind the scenes that most people don't see, most people don't realize, and also what most people see, what you can also realize from his content system. If you find something that I have not really pointed out in this particular video, then please let me know. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. And if you've learned anything new in this video, you are a coach, consultant, or online therapist, then you can go to the link below. It's the first link, heidemedia.com. There you can find our landing page. And if you like what we do, then feel free to book a call below the first video. So it's like just clicking the link below the video. It's not a hard sell call, it's just a discovery. We are exploring sort of like the opportunity if we could even help you, you know, in your business, if there would be an opportunity for us to make serious progress in your business, what sort of client acquisition systems we can take from, for example, Matthias and our previous clients to help you scale. And if that would be interesting for you, then just do that. If not, it's perfectly fine. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you a nice day. Bye bye.